So do I need to cut off my leg to survive? I'll do anything.
And then it's like, what have I got to lose by having a crack and starting my own business? I'm still alive, I'm still here, but I did try, and there's no what ifs.
That I'm here to make a difference. That's my job to find a fucking way.
I don't want what ifs, so I normally try and go 100% into things.
Help other people's dreams come true. Mine has certainly come true along the way.
I ended up going 385 days without a lick of alcohol. And this is a dude that's an action nightclub manager. Welcome to episode number 2. Today I've got someone who's been a friend now for just over a year. And we met by accident, but it's been a pretty awesome year so far. So I'd just like to say welcome to Harry. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you giving me your time and popping on. And looking forward to the deep conversation that we're going to have over the next hour or so. So yeah, thank you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm excited, man. I know we've got some big ideas to talk about, and the last year's been a bloody journey, and I'm so grateful that we're here now.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I've obviously made some detours to my plans this year. I was meant to go to Vietnam and a couple of different places, but after our first trip together, only 8 weeks ago, decided to come back and hang out with you again, and it's been another really good trip. Unfortunately at the moment though, that's probably the last one for the year as I move into my commitments for football and getting down there and trying to win another championship with my Bayside Ravens. But here we are, and it's been an amazing week.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So,
and it's powerful where we go in the world. Like, I think as we get access to different areas and our values get to be taken care of, like particularly here in Bali, how much we can take care of our fitness, how much we can take care of our business, and even just our lifestyle in different ways. It's really, really incredible. And that's why I kept coming back myself in the beginning, because I was like, wait, I can do all this stuff for this much money? Okay. It's a very special place, hey?
Deeply special, man. And even if you take away the economy of the place and how cheap everything is, like, it's something that caters for everyone. Like, being an Australian, when I first think of Bali, you don't really get too far from the airport and you're like, oh yeah, we're just meant to wear singer singlets and drink beer and sit on the beach and all that sort of stuff. And then you get a bit deeper into Bali, get to meet people like yourself and your partner Hannah, and then you discover some of the amazing gems, and then also some of my friends from the past who now live here, and the conversations completely change only going 5 or 6 kilometres away from your typical Seminyak and Kuta. All of a sudden we're sitting in Obsidian the other day, eating crazily healthy food and talking business, and where everyone has set their businesses up and comparing notes. And, that could lead to a change for people from a simple conversation in Bali that's normally a drinking vibe, and people may change their whole business structure from a lunch.
Yeah. Like the environments we go to, the rooms we get in, it completely changes how we're operating, right? And like, particularly being here in Bali, like, yeah, when I first moved here, definitely got caught in that Bali buzz, beachside beers, and you can get caught there. I think it's really, really important to know that. But then, yeah, you do venture outside that. You go to those special places where people are going, where they truly care about making a difference in their life and in the world, and getting around that, how that can change and influence how you're operating. It's massive. It can be the slightest bit of information that can help you tweak everything in your world. And I remember, I forget where it was when I first came here, but I had a conversation with a guy, and he said, like, it was a sentence that like completely changed how I saw things, particularly around like the AI becoming a bigger thing. I think it was Brandon actually who recently said it. It was people are moving away from wanting the education on things because of like AI. Just, you can text it like it was Google, but it can give you so much information at a moment's notice. And so people are less invested and interested in education now. They're more interested in experience. And that line completely changed how I saw operating in my business. And now I'm not thinking about, I need to make sure I get all the notes on how I can really make an educational experience for somebody. It's how can I really get them involved? How can I make them feel so much in one moment? And that's really, really powerful. And like conversations like that can completely change how we are doing things, and it's really, really cool. And I think that also subtly leads into, I think, the first area we want to explore today, which was growing up too fast, because there's a handful of things, particularly in our childhood, that if we have them, our whole life can change, and if we don't have them, our whole life can change. And so I really appreciate the first topic that we're here to talk about, which is growing up too fast, because like I trust like you have, just like me, have explored all the different things we need as children and how that can drastically impact us and influence us. So yeah, shall we get into that?
Yeah, look, that's a pretty good deep dive, and I was almost going to say the same thing. I'm like, we're talking about a bit of growth here. So what was growth? What did growth look like for us as children, and how, you know, both of us have gone through plenty of pain in our younger years, but definitely from different spotlights, for instance.
Yeah.
So it is an area that we wanted to cover first thing up. So
like,
yeah,
what do you see as like maybe a fundamental thing we would need as kids that so many of us do not get? I'm curious.
Oh, that is a really good deep question. I think it's a chance to grow is pretty important. Deeply, deeply important. Allowing a child to learn, develop, and not be forced into anything rushed. Rushed growth is terrible. Now, whether it's from pain or influences from social media and everything else, I myself was rushed in growing up. You were rushed in growing up. But then when we look at outside of our circles, and you now look at, say, for instance, females and Instagram, and all of a sudden you got 12 and 13-year-olds getting carried away with makeup and everything else. Those people aren't being allowed to grow at a normal pace either. So
their childhood could be considered being stolen from them.
100%.
And in some areas, it pinpoints us in an area of growth and how we can show up in greater ways or more powerful ways. But it also, from going in that pinpointed direction, other things are missed out on. And I certainly experienced that growing up, where it's like I had some, like, for example, I was really good at giving space to other people, which now goes into my job now and what I do. But it's like what I didn't get to experience because of that was huge. We didn't have to worry about everyone else's problems. Like, that was a big thing.
Yeah, we simply weren't exposed to other people's problems growing up. We didn't have social media, the internet. Even take away social media and just go to the internet and what you can look up there. Far out exposes. At my age, growing up, I only knew how my friends that I actually hung out with were growing up. I didn't know about immediate circle. I didn't know about kids in America or anywhere else, the next suburb over, even, you know. And even growing up, my communication skills and manners with calling people up, for instance, if we were the same age as kids, you know, having to call you up to, hey, let's go for a BMX ride, because that's what we did as kids. And I would first have to talk to your parents and have a light conversation with them first before I even got to you. Yeah. That's gone now. Now it's just like a message on the gram or a text. And like, do people even know each other's parents anymore? Or is it just straight to we're hanging out with John, and it was like, who's John? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's completely different in this day and age.
I get that, and I definitely noticed it in my age group growing up, that one-to-one connection that obviously people from older generations and me can have, and the ease of conversation. Like, that was, like, conversations for me were so difficult. It was like, how are you guys just talking? Like, it's funny. But then you get us on a phone, we're whizzing at it. Yeah. You know, oh, what do you mean you don't know this, Dad? What do you mean you don't know this, John? Like, it's just a click button.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's pretty crazy the way it's all changed. Yeah. But when you go back to when we were kids and our forced growth, obviously you only had immediately what was around you, your environment, the people that raised you, circumstances that pop up that quite literally in 24 hours can change your entire life. So it was definitely an area that I wanted to touch on in this first first section.
Yeah. Yeah. So, shall we get into it?
Let's get into it, man.
Okay, let's
This
go.
is probably going to be our hardest section, and then we'll delve into stuff that we love
Yeah.
later on. But
Yeah.
I mean, forced. Look, I would call it forced growth.
Yeah.
At a much earlier age
Mm.
than you should.
Yeah, it was required to do things that most kids, you could say, don't put up with. And for me, going through health struggles at an early age was my forced growth. But it all started with my parents getting separated at 14, and like I remember I have to share this. I remember I was on crutches, and I had hurt my leg in football, and it just didn't get better. And I remember going and seeing a hippie spiritual person, palm reader person, and she said to me, she looked at my hand, she looked really worried, and she said, "You're about to go through the worst thing ever." And I was like, "Okay, whoa." And then I think it was a few weeks later, my parents told me, "Hey, we're going to get separated." And I was like, "Oh, shit, this must be it." My parents are getting separated. I was like, "Damn, that sucks." And that was really, really big. They had lots of problems going on. And so that part of me that needed to be there for everyone else's problems and provide space and listen, that's when that really started to happen. But then a few months went by from that conversation, and I'm in a doctor's office. I got a scan the day before because we needed to see what was going on with my leg. My dad and I were at a doctor, and they were like, "Oh, you got to go have one of these scans." And we're like, maybe. We'll go to the physio. We'll be fine. We don't have to worry about that. But we saw the scanning place on the way home as we're driving. And so we're like, all right, we'll get the scan. And then the next day we were like rushed into Melbourne to the Royal Children's Hospital to see one of the biggest doctors in osteosarcoma, which is a bone cancer. They didn't tell me at the time. Whilst we were rushing in, they actually, we pulled over to get some fuel, and they just let me know I could have cancer. And it was a really scary moment. And because I just thought there was just, I don't know, growing pains, or there was something going on with my leg, but no, they were worried that I could have cancer. And the only news I had, I was 14 at the time.
14.
Yeah. So the only thing that I've ever heard about cancer, that it's like, if you get cancer, you die.
Really?
Like, so in my head, I'm like, Jesus, what does this mean? What does this exactly mean? And my grandma had passed from cancer, so like, it was literally like, I was hearing, in a way, you're going to die. So we get to the hospital, we get in there, and he says, he has a look at the scan from the day before, and he goes, now, he looks at me and he says, "Do you want to be here for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." He says, "Okay, I'm 95% sure you have osteosarcoma, bone cancer in your knee." It was big. And I remember sitting there for 5 seconds, and the first thing I said to him was, "So do I need to cut off my leg to survive? I'll do anything." And to have to say that at 14, like, I just remember being immediately in, I will do whatever it takes to survive. And I love that about me. I love that about me in that moment. But fuck, that's huge.
It's heavy, man. It's like, what do I need to do to ensure that I still have a full life?
I'll do what it takes.
Do what it takes.
Immediately. It was in me. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's special about me. I don't know if it's like the survival mechanism.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I'll do whatever it takes.
So the number one thought process there was survival straight away. Not anger, not anything else. Just, okay.
I didn't get into a pit of sorrow.
No, just okay, what do I need to do?
It was focused. He said, "Now look, I've got good news. We've got about an 80% chance of survival. You won't need to lose your leg. We will remove the parts of your bone that it's in and replace that with a prosthesis," which is an inner prosthetic. So now I have a prosthetic knee and half my femur. But to get there, I had to go through a few months of chemo. And after a few months of chemo, I had the surgery, which was crazy. Like walking in there with a full body, you could say, and then walking out with a metal knee and half my femur being made out of titanium. It was huge. January 12th, 2015, that happened. So it completely changed my life. And then I had a few months more of chemo. And yeah, by July 2015, I was walking out of there officially cancer-free. So 9 months of my life gone. But I needed to do it to survive, of course.
I mean, 9 months of your life gone, but 2026 is still here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
100%.
a small price to pay.
Yeah.
To still be kicking goals
Time-wise.
and living in Bali and now have a partner and everything else.
Yeah. And who I had to become across that journey, there's so many layers. Being okay with nurses seeing me naked, experiencing all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, it was interesting. We were talking about what we had pictured for our life back then. And all I wanted to either be an AFL player in football or play basketball, which were my loves. And I had just the year before went to snow camp and done snowboarding for the first time. And I loved all that stuff. And I can't do it anymore. And that was one of the biggest things because my dad remained the coach of my football team, and just seeing him every week, I'd help him and like help him get all the boys in line because I knew them. I'd played with them since I was since I was 7. And so whilst in chemo, just got to coach from the sidelines in a way. That was tough.
Right, that's tough. So, like, I love sport as well, right? You know that I coach American football and a couple of other things. How did the boys get around you during that time?
Yeah, that was really, really important. Like, there was moments where they would... I remember I had a blanket that had one of my friend's mums who also experienced cancer made for me, and it had like my football jersey stitched onto it. It had photos of like me playing football. Then all the boys had written out some personal notes to me, and I still have that blanket. It's one of my most cherished items ever. And had like the Essendon. It had an Essendon like little pocket on it, which I could store stuff in. And no, I remember I would go up to the football club sometimes, and I remember they did a back check of all the games I'd played, and they realised they hadn't given me my 100th games yet. And so in the middle of chemo, pale, bald, I went up there and got presented my 100th games trophy. And the boys were funny about it. Like I couldn't swallow my spit at the time because it was so just made me sick. I had this infamous spit cup. Awful. It was absolutely awful. But it was just so funny being around the boys, and they would just make me laugh about it, and they would embrace me, and they wouldn't veer away from that, which was really, really important. I remember one time I spilled it, they freaked out. They're like, "Ah!"
Everyone ran away.
Yeah, everyone ran away. But like, that was really important, having that connection. Like, I remember there was a moment where I was like, I really need my friends right now. And they came into the city, they came into the hospital and sat by my bedside with me. So when I needed them, they were there.
It's pretty amazing with sport and how it, either community or even, if it's a lads team like yours, just the brotherhood that gets around there, and they all get around each other, get their parents to help you out, get that blanket made, even see the funny side of things when you're up on stage getting your 100th trophy to make you feel human again.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and make you realise, I'm still here. These are still my bros. Everyone's still making me laugh. Yeah, I'm going through a hard time, but fuck, I love these guys.
Yeah, it's keeping me connected to the life I had. And that was really, really important. And so how that made me grow up really fast was, one thing is, which I've seen recurring ever since that, where it's by October this year would have been 12 years since I was diagnosed. The care for life and the gratitude to be alive and the understanding that life can be taken so quickly. Because it wasn't only me in there. I saw so many kids going through chemo, going through cancer. Some of them aren't here now.
Yeah, some of them wouldn't have been as lucky.
Yeah. 7-year-olds dying. And so seeing that, being exposed to that, I now walk forward with the awareness that at any moment we can be gone. So when people are bullshitting about little things that are going on in life, a tough moment, a hard comment at work, it's like there's so much more than this. People living in fear, not taking action, scared over the smallest things. I now notice that that's not in me anymore. And I consider it a gift to try to give that to other people, that they are so capable of so much, and the time that they have it's not forever.
It's finite.
And so make some things happen. Actually go out there and make a difference, because you can, and it's worth a bloody go. And I noticed that in me more, so much more because of that. I noticed when I was 13 years old, I would joke about anything, not give a fuck about anything. And it was glorified. At school, it was like, Harry doesn't give a fuck, haha. But after that, I cared so much more. And that's how I've now created the business I now have today. It's through that heart. It's through that care. It's through that awareness that at any moment, life could change.
Life could change. And, you know, starting your own business, when you've had a chance to almost lose your own life, and then it's like, what have I got to lose by having a crack and starting my own business?
Yeah.
What, I just go back to a normal paying job anyway?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm still alive. I'm still here. But I did
right.
try, and there's no what ifs.
Damn right.
And that's one of my most... And there's no what ifs. Like, that's one of my most powerful things that I always try and stick to is I don't want what ifs. So I normally try and go 100% into things. And I guess from your lived experiences, you're the same. You're like, I don't want a what if. Oh, fuck it, let's do it. Let's have a crack. At least I know an answer. And then you crack on.
I've got time right now. I've got health right now. So I've got to get going.
Yeah.
Because this could change.
Yeah, 100%.
It's really, really important. And I remember when I walked out of the hospital, there was a knowing in me that I was here to make a difference. And throughout life, whenever things have gotten hard, whenever things have gotten tough, I always come back to that I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to impact the world. And I know that. It's deeply rooted within me. And no matter what comes my way, whether it's a health challenge again, whether it's difficulty in relationships, whether it's tough times in business, that in me will never change. That I'm here to make a difference. And it's my job to find a fucking way.
That's awesome, bro. So, like, I guess from everything that you've sort of spoken about then, your biggest growth thing really was pre-14 Harry. Harry probably thought life would go forever. Didn't matter, you could do what you want. And then it's a very quick 9-month turnaround to then be like, no, life is finite. If I want to do things with life, I really need to do it now.
Yeah.
If I want to make changes in people's lives, I need to do it now. Because you did come out the other side, but then you're seeing other people not coming out the other side, and you're like, we're here for a limited time.
Yeah.
Like that's my vision of the forced growth for you.
Yeah.
Finite.
And I had some challenges to overcome through 15 to 17. That was more the mental side of experiencing something like that. But the seeds that were planted in that journey came to flourish when I started working on myself, getting support for the problems I was going through, and the lessons learned started to shine through. But I had to overcome the mental side of the journey too. And so facing things like depression, anxiety, grief was so huge as well. And
do you go through any stages of anger as lost time or
Heaps.
why me?
Heaps. So when I was 17, you should have seen the garage, mate. Lots of holes in the walls. I didn't have a control over my anger. I was punching holes in the walls all the time, and was boxing and just being really, really angry. And that's one of the first things I wanted to get coached on with my coach, was how to get back in control of my anger, because I was just experiencing so much. And at the time, it was like there was just waves would come over me, and it's like I couldn't handle it. Like I didn't have a steering wheel. And so yeah, my mum has paid a lot of money to fix some walls.
Bless mum.
Yes, but that led me to the gym. That led me to exercising, working out. And when I went from, I think I was like 80 to 90 kilos when I was 17 to 74 kilos when I was 18. And harnessing that anger, utilizing that emotion into my growth and into bettering myself was one of the first big lessons of how we can turn our pain into passion, how we can turn our pain into progress. And that was a really big step for me. And particularly having emotional intelligence and emotional awareness and emotional regulation, those keys, those tools, infinite gold, because I've seen how they've changed. Not having them, for some people, completely change how they operate. Like, particularly I've seen it in men when they don't have the steering wheel for anger. Gee, the pain that can be caused in their kids' lives, their relationships, for themselves, is huge. They can tear their whole life down in an instant. And it's huge and deeply important to invest in being aware of our emotions and how we can start giving ourselves what we need to be able to regulate. It's deeply important.
100%. I mean, an angry man can often also find himself pretty isolated because no one really wants to hang around an angry man. They don't want to be on the other side of it. Whether it's physical damage or verbal damage even can be quite hurtful to somebody else. So all of a sudden you can find yourself very lonely very quickly, which could spiral into other things that you've already mentioned, other emotions.
You don't know you're pushing people away. You're simply expressing the over... What is it? It's just like the bucket that's so full that it just splashes out now, that anger. It's not your intention to be like, go away, but you definitely push people away when you're like, rah, all the time.
100%. This bit will probably get bleeped out, but funnily enough, when I used to do FIFO work, I had a very similar issue with anger. And I had a list of things on there. One of them was like, look for a volunteer job on my FIFO time to give back to the community and all that sort of stuff. But the number one point, and it almost cost me a job because I wrote it on the mirror and they tried to tell me that I was graffitiing, but I was like, it's a whiteboard marker and come on. But it was basically, don't be an angry cunt. No one likes an angry cunt.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing I used to see every single morning. And then ironically, it was one of my FIFO jobs in Darwin. I almost got a window seat because I had it on there. So
wow.
I had to change it to don't be an angry person because nobody likes an angry person.
Yeah. Powerful quote. And it's important. Like, for me, the one man I was obviously most exposed to growing up is my father. And his relationship with anger has been huge. And like, his reality with his father was how he expressed his anger was beating everyone in the family. And so I remember how important it was to come from a place of compassion and understanding with our parents. Because when I was a kid, I was like, well, why is Dad angry all the time? What's wrong with him? But then I got to understand him more and appreciate what he's been through. It got me to realize, like, the fact that he held back from beating us was a big thing. Really big thing. The anger that he would carry from moments that when he was a kid is huge, and he did better. And so it's important to recognize growth like that. But I remember in the past probably 5 to 8 years, he's really made a change in his life and his emotional regulation. I'm so proud of him. And one of the things he wrote on the wall was, if there's no enemy within, no enemies outside can harm us. And I love that quote. I really do. And it was when I remember I came inside to his house once. And I saw it on the wall. He goes, well, excuse me, what's this? And he goes, oh, I've just been working it out with my psychologist, and I think that's a really good mantra for me. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I share that to also validate it. When we expose ourselves to quotes like that every day and check into it and focus on it, or I like to say meditate on it, it's really, really powerful, the change that can bring. It's not like an affirmation. It's just like the thing to come back to. We need those points.
Almost like centering again.
Yeah.
Coming back. What am I doing that isn't around what I'm trying to achieve? I like to call mine my playbook.
Yeah.
For instance, and I've got that playbook, and if I ever feel lost, I'd just go, righto, we've actually built a playbook for this. Let's come back. Let's check out my quotes. Let's check out my values. Let's get realigned. Let's stop being a jerk. You know what I mean?
I see. Becoming irritable. What's happening?
I'm becoming irritable. Where am I lost? What am I doing? Have I eaten good today? Did I sleep last night? Have I had over 1,000 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm just being an absolute wanker because I'm hopped up?
I get you. I get you, man. So I want to know, like, for you, because I really appreciate the space to express how I grew up so fast. I want to know for you, what was your version of that?
Ooh, my version, unfortunately for me, basically both my parents had very bad drug addictions, which wasn't easy. So I've only really got one photo of my parents together where I was an infant. I do believe they split up before my first birthday even.
Wow.
So I never really got to experience the home life with my normal parents. I did, thankfully, because of my beautiful grandparents, get to experience home life with grandparents, but a little bit different from home life with everyone else. You know, they'd already done everything like that. They'd already bought their kids the motorbikes and broken legs and birthday parties and all that sort of stuff. So, little bit of a tangent with the grandparents, but stuff like that. Like, I didn't do sleepovers. My first birthday party was my 18th, which was a surprise one, and it really was a surprise because I'd never had one before.
Wow.
Which was really great. But going back to my normal parents,
I just want to acknowledge in that your first proper birthday at 18, and I want to appreciate, I say this with love, like the lack of bandwidth that your grandparents would have, because they've been through all that. So then the space that they have for you has to be less. But I know from conversation we've had, they did the best that they could at the same time.
the absolute best they could.
Yeah. But I want to appreciate that there was definitely things you missed out on because of that. That's big, man.
Yeah, and it's, you know, in hindsight, now that I've traveled around the world a lot, yeah, it was bad, but going to third world countries and a lot of other things, I'm like, yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah, it's two more
Could have
people.
been worse.
Two more people than some people get.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if my grandparents didn't exist, to be honest, I probably would have been awarded the state, foster home to foster home, and who knows what my life could have ended up.
So born into instability with your parents. How do you reckon that changed your experience of being a kid? Because, like, for me, having mum and dad there, I noticed the dependence and, like, the knowing that they're there for me, that I got to experience. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is strange. Like, I was with my mother from 0 to 6. My mother at 14 started off, you know, with the typical stuff, was just marijuana, that sort of stuff. But somewhere along the lines, being Sydney during the 80s and late 70s, ventured into heroin pretty quick. So she was a regular up at King's Cross. So for me, it was being exposed to neon lights, bikies before I even knew what bikies were. I just thought they were big, cool people. And they were all friendly back then. But now that I've grown up and gone through the nightclub life, I'm like, man, any one of those nights, one of those dudes could have cracked it with me and done whatever. But the exposure to syringes, being left in an arcade up there playing video games, which I thought was fucking great as a kid. But once again, it's like someone could have just grabbed me at any stage back then.
Yeah.
And she'd leave me there for 40 or 50 minutes while she was doing what she needed to do to cope. But it was almost very independent while I was still single digits, like learning how to fend for myself straight away, knowing the Sydney train system before I could read. Like it was quite crazy. And then
the different things that you learned in the environment you were in. Yeah.
Survival. Definitely survival and independence.
Managing abandonment.
That's definitely a big one, and I definitely would say that I still definitely have emotions around that and difficulties with that.
Of course. And at the time, it's kind of like, I want to appreciate that it's kind of like blurred because you're put in a fun situation like an arcade, let's say. So it feels good, but you don't actually understand what's happening as a child.
Not at all. Not at all. So it was around about the age of 6 that I was taken off my mother. She went in and out of jail, rehab, all those sort of things. So from the age of 6 to 12 was when I sort of got the stability with my grandparents. I was a little bit of a menace, but that's where I sort of got taught proper life, making my bed, folding up my clothes.
How were you a menace?
Just it's really, really hard when you go from a parent who lets you do whatever the hell you want, no rules, no nothing, to grandparents who are old school in raising their child, and rules. It's like, what do you mean I got rules? I just do what I want.
Orderly.
Yeah, orderly. So that was really good for me. Like at the time, I probably thought it was shit. I even did some...
What do you mean?
Yeah,
I can't just wear my underwear and run around the house.
I don't understand this. Like I even remember and they're old school and I still appreciate this. Some people frown upon it these days, but like Nan had a wooden spoon. If I do something wrong, I got the wooden spoon. And then I started to get a little bit of initiative around this and I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll break the wooden spoon. And then if I break the wooden spoon, I can't be hit by the wooden spoon. Great idea. Anyway, my lovely grandmother goes out to whatever kitchen store you go to back then and comes home with a plastic wooden spoon. Innovation, right? No more wood. And that thing whipped. Like it had a whip on it. So like if you stopped and it would whip. And I was like, righto, I've made a mistake here. I'm going to earn some pocket money and I'm going to buy Nan a set of wooden spoons again. And I'm going to throw out the plastic one.
I love the innovation. I love the innovative thoughts of yourself. Well done. And your ability to get your way around things as well. What age was that?
I would have been 7 or 8, somewhere along there. I was like, yep, I've got to earn some pocket money. I've got to make up for my mistakes. I need to get the wooden spoons back. They don't hurt as much.
Yeah. Wow. And there's so many layers to that, right? And it's interesting. There's so much talk about how discipline, particularly through physical harm, can be a problem, and it's tough because, like now, I think, what's the greatest way to discipline a child? It's like kind of like taking things away from them and maybe sending them to their room is a common thing as well.
I hear taking iPads off children is effective in this day and age.
Yes, it's
electrical devices.
Yes, torture. Absolute torture. But it's important, and there's obviously just been different ways we express it. But yeah, that's big. That shift from being a 6-year-old running around, basically having no rules, to then being in a household, having to behave in certain ways and certain manners. That's a big shift for a kid to go through.
Yeah. And it was great. So I was with my grandparents from 6 till 12, around about. And those years there were really, really tough. My grandmother would stay up pretty late with me. I couldn't read. too well up until probably year 4 or 5. Obviously, primary school was with my mother, so there wasn't, go to school whenever. So she would stay up late, try and teach me how to read and all that sort of stuff, which ended up being able to read quite well by the time I finished primary school. Simple things like putting your clothes away, ironing. Bless my grandmother. She used to iron tea towels. That is a fucking habit that is still with me today. And people look at me and laugh like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "They got to be ironed."
Yeah, they've got to be perfectly neat.
My nan is around here somewhere with that wooden spoon. This needs to be done. So, so it was really, really good. But then, obviously, when I got to that age of 11 and 12, and I'd done some visits with my mother and all that sort of stuff, like, you can't, like, not too many people can remember 0 to 6. Like, it's a blurry time.
It is.
So my mother, once again, came into my life and asked if I would like to live with her.
Oh.
And who doesn't want to live with their mother? So I made that decision to go from out of the western suburbs of Sydney, out near Richmond, really nice area, back into the city with my mother. It was a 1-bedroom place, and I mean 1 bedroom, the lounge room, bedroom, and the kitchen were all in this one thing, in Summer Hill, right in the city. I went to Ashfield Primary. And the first probably 12 months were really, really great. My mother was doing really, really well. She fell pregnant again to my little baby sister, Jessica. I worked Saturdays at the fruit and veg store for this Lebanese guy. I think I used to work about 4 hours and get $5.
Wow.
Now, anyway,
What age was that?
I would have been 12 or 13.
Damn.
Yeah.
Early in the workforce.
Early in the workforce, something to do on a Saturday just to get that extra pocket money. But then I noticed some behavioural changes. When someone is taking drugs, even their facial features can change. It's really quite weird how recognisable it is. And just small things, like I'd save that $5 up, and it was good. And I remember I got to about $35 and it disappeared. And that was one of the first telltale signs of something was wrong. But I was a kid. I didn't think anything of it. I was just upset that I lost $35.
You're noticing things. There's signs popping up.
Yeah.
And so your mum relapses.
Yeah. So we actually end up losing that place. We moved to another place down at Ashfield. And then within a couple of months, we actually ended up on the streets of Sydney, around Surrey Hill, King's Cross, everywhere. So, and my little sister was born at this time too, so she would have been anywhere from 0 to 6 months old. So I was would have been about 13 at the time, I would say, raising my little sister.
So the role of being a father at 13 years old is put upon you.
Yeah, or just a very good big brother, but yeah, father.
Yeah.
Taking care of that thing, and then not knowing where we're sleeping each night. Some nights would be a hotel, other nights not so lucky. And the random trips up to King's Cross. At the time, I was still very lucky in that I would somehow still get myself to school. It was weird because it was a private school, which is no longer there, St. Lewisham Boys High. And I would turn up without food, pens, whatever. A couple of my friends at the time used to make fun of me until they found out what was going on. And then all of a sudden, it was really weird. Like, I would get food from the canteen, no issues. My friends would help me out with some pens and whatnot.
Wow.
And it was kind of good. I had a birthday party that was done by one of the school teachers. I still got that photo today, where we just went down to the park, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. We were just walking to the park. I'm like, yeah, sweet. And then all of a sudden it was a birthday cake for me.
How did that feel?
It was weird and good. Yeah, it was different.
Strangely good.
Yeah. I'm not, looking back at it now, I was like, man, how did the other kids feel? Because, like, they wouldn't have got this. And for some reason, I sort of get pinpointed as Troy's underprivileged. We're at a private school. We get to go down the park and have a birthday cake for him. So I was just wondering, when I think back to it, I'm like, did the other kids think that was bad, or did they get around it? Very blurry.
Yeah, because if they didn't know, like, it's easy for me to say, of course they'd understand. And yeah, obviously there's dicks in the world too, so some people would have been a bit harsh on it. But I think I just love the compassion and love of humanity. Once they saw what was going on, they helped you.
Yeah,
They
100%.
looked out for you. I think that's important. So how, like, sleeping on the streets, raising your baby sister at 13 years old, that's massive, man. I don't think many people have experienced life that way.
No, it was. Yeah, it was a really difficult time.
Yeah. In the moment, once again, you've just got to live it. You've just
Yeah.
got to do it. You don't
Wasn't-
see it from the bird's eye view.
Wasn't really a choice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't want to do this tonight. It was like, no, we've got no fucking money.
Yeah.
Or we did have money and it was spent on drugs. Stuff like that. I mean, there was some really cool nights. Like one of the memories that sticks to me the most would have been near Central Station, walking up George Street, getting close to Central Station, and this white van pulls over. And this lady jumps out. I'm like, I was pushing my sister. My mother and her partner were having a fight, probably about where we're going to sleep or how they could get their next hit or whatever. And this lady drops out with a heap of bills in her hand and just puts it in my hand and then says,
Money.
yeah. It was like they were just driving around helping out homeless people. Just throws it in my hand and I'm like, cool, and then hops in the van and drives off. Now it's funny, like you get something like that that's so significant. Like there are other times that something may have happened for 5 seconds and that's well gone from my memory, but that stuck out. That was someone literally, and it was a good couple of $100, and you're talking mid-90s. Like there's a bit of cash back then.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, that was one of the nights where we got to sleep in a hotel, and it usually it was dorm style. It was always backpackers or something. Like that. We'd get one little thing to ourselves. So that was one thing that stuck out there, and it was.
I'm curious there, because like, did you ever learn to discern with everything going on with your mum? Like, is she to be trusted with money? Did you ever learn that when you were 13?
No. And I pinpoint this. I had a lot of money issues myself, in regards to saving, and I always pinpoint it back to that $35.
Yeah.
So there was a long time there where
If I save, it just gets taken from me.
If it saves, it gets taken. So I would spend money quick as fuck. Like if it came in, I was like, I got to spend it because somebody else will. And that was terrible. Like I did that for a very long time, and it probably only stopped about 6 or 7 years ago, to be honest. Probably the purchase of my first property was where that sort of behaviour stopped to a degree. Like I still am a little bit loose with money, but I do save, I do invest, and it does cruise on to somewhere else. But it wasn't, it wasn't really about her and what she can do with money. It was like I forgot what she did, and I was just like, if I've got money, it can disappear. What can I spend it on? That's
I got to
for
use
me.
it now. Yeah.
For me, not for somebody else, for me.
Yeah.
So very selfish, very bad habits, led to paycheck styles
Yeah.
for over in a day, which was horrible.
So how long are you on the street at 13?
Would have been about 6 months.
6 months.
And then I was put into a home. I was taken off my mother. I can't remember what happened to Jessica at the time. I think she got put into a home too, but we did get separated. I think she ended up with a family for a little while, which was really good for her and to some degrees.
How did it feel at the time?
I'm not too sure. It was a weird feeling.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I missed my sister, but at the same time, it was a bit blurry, to be honest.
I am where I am. I got to do what I got to do.
So I ended up in this home, and I think I was in the home for another 3 months. It was really close to the school. I had a really good friend across the road from the home, funnily enough, Eric, a little Italian dude. So I got to spend some time with him. We'd walk together to and from school, and then eventually back with my mother while she was in rehab. Had some really good people around that used to pick me up from the rehab place to go watch football games. So that sort of started the love with football. So Charlie Close used to come and grab me. So that's where I started to learn how other people act. Probably one of my first memories of someone giving up a lot of their time. and to come and pick me up and get me away from that environment was one of my first football coaches. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play a season for him, but this guy used to drive trucks fucking 12 hours a day, and he would somehow take his time out to come and pick this wrangly little kid up. It would not make a fucking difference on a football field at that stage, and take me to and from training. So Wally Vontina, who I still, even though it was a very, very short period of time, definitely for those couple of months gave me somewhat of a different type of father figure to look at, to be like, oh yeah, that's someone who sacrifices their time, even though they don't have any, to do something for someone else. That's what that looks like. That's pretty awesome. And I still talk to him. Yeah,
it's so important to have grace.
Yeah.
Extend love where love usually isn't extended, and these incredible human beings that demonstrate it through our life, like for example with me, the lady who made that blanket. It can be a small gesture, but it's the biggest thing for people that are experiencing so much uncertainty, to just have that little bit of grace and understanding, love, care, time, whatever way it's demonstrated. It matters so much. Yeah, wow. That's huge.
Yeah. It's been a relationship. Like, I remember going to football games, and Wally didn't quite remember me until later. But like when I was living with my grandparents, actually it would have been beforehand, before all this happened, before I knew Wally. So Wally used to play for another team called the Agronauts, and in his little truckie shorts, and that's why my memory joined the dots. He'd be walking along this roof out at Liverpool with the radio on, calling in plays and stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. But funnily enough, one of his son used to play there as well, Jason, and we used to hang out. You know, it was back when, it might be a bit before your time, the first techno song to hit the top 40, Here's Johnny.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, that was a good one. But we disconnected for a good couple of years there, and then Jason and I reconnected earlier this year, and I went and hung out with him and his family, 30 odd years later. Damn. After his dad used to come and pick me up, and now we're still pretty good friends and talk to this day. It's just funny how the world comes back around. Yeah. And that does come back to social media. I don't know if we would have reconnected if it wasn't for how small the world is right now.
Yeah. No, it's so powerful. Like just the other day, for example, when you sent me this cool post, and it's by a chick I went to school with, and it's got hundreds of thousands of likes on it. It's just like those little moments where, the full circle comes into swing. And I just really appreciate everything we just unpacked really adds to our lived experience. And a lot of people talk about lived experience and how important it is. And you and I, as we're coaches, a lot of people rely on that lived experience to support them in their endeavors. And everyone does generally. Like everything we've experienced accumulates and really makes a difference on how we behave day to day. And so I know we wanted to talk about today about lived experience versus personal development. So shall we get into that?
Yeah, that's some pretty good ones. For me, the lived experience, there was a lot of things I didn't really learn about myself until really late in life. I definitely, from my lived experience, as you said before, the abandonment definitely created some issues for me in relationships. Always questioning it, waiting for it to end.
Yeah, you're going to walk away at some point, aren't you? That constantly
which
over you.
Unfortunately probably meant that I wasn't behaving correctly, and probably ended up forcing that by thinking about it too much. The power of thought really is fucking powerful.
And what you resist persists, so it's going to keep coming back if you don't get a handle of it. Be more consciously aware of it. Yeah.
But the positives from everything that I went through was resourcefulness. I can definitely work out how to get somewhere, or if I make my mind up about something and I want to get somewhere, I've been really, really good at getting there. Downside of that is I forget about everything else. I become very, very tunnel vision.
I can appreciate that. When you're picking up all your stuff and going to your next spot, that groundedness can not be there, right?
100%.
It's easy to ditch everything and just get going. I can appreciate that as well. Like from experiencing cancer, it was like I can really get in that tunnel vision sometimes, which can be some definite reasons why success does happen, but then what gets left behind can be, yeah, not so good. So I can really appreciate that experience.
Well, man, like pretty confident this is a Chris Williamson quote. Could be somebody else, but if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You can't say yes to something and not have to sacrifice
Yeah.
something else.
Damn right.
It goes one in one. Now, if I was, for instance, I was very bad at communicating with one of my first partners. I just knew I had to work FIFO work. I knew I had to earn money. I knew I had to be successul, and I didn't know how to communicate that. And it was a 4 weeks on, 1 week off roster. And from that, I managed to buy my first property and do all that sort of stuff. But every time she asked me, what are we doing this for? It was just because. Now, in my head, I knew why. I didn't want
It's ingrained.
I didn't want my kids to be on the streets. I didn't want them to miss out on a good schooling. I didn't want my family to experience anything that I experienced. But I sure as shit didn't know how to communicate that. I just knew I had to work my fucking ass off. And if it meant I was away for 4 weeks,
I'll bloody do it.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Which is not the way you talk to a partner and not the way you communicate.
No. Because if you did, let's say in the world that you did express that, there's a camaraderie in the mission. Because I understand, I get you. But if you don't bring that and it's just happening, unconsciously creating some abandonment there can certainly happen.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, a much better option.
Hurt people.
Yeah, I mean, a much better option definitely would have been, in my more mature state now, would be to every time I come back from home, what are our goals? Where are we going? Are you okay with me being away for 4 weeks still? Have we reached where we want to reach to be able to provide for our family?
Yeah.
How much longer do we want to do this for?
Yeah.
But I would come home, I would drink, I would be useless for a couple of days, and all of a sudden it'd be flyback day. And we probably didn't talk about life as much and what we both wanted from it.
So that's it's really important to define that. On one hand, you've got a fantastic ability to work and desire to create a great home and go after success. But then when it comes to relationships and relationships with yourself and taking care of yourself and your partner and communicating, that is where we can really lack. And so I think that's a core difference between lived experience and personal development. Lived experience can create some really powerful resourcefulness, as you said, in different areas, different beliefs that you now have, different behaviors that are instilled within you. But we've got to also do the work at the same time to find different areas that we did miss out on.
100%.
That we need to take further action on to get better and better at being a human, being us, and living life. And like, I certainly noticed with me, when I first started exploring personal development, I got so good at knowing different coaching models, knowing how to speak on stage and on video, online, and got really, really good at this stuff. But because I was so focused on doing that, I wasn't building a life outside of that. And so when I would connect with people, it was like I was bringing, I don't know, bringing marbles to a Lego party, something like that. And so it's just interesting to see, like, we can get, even just getting so experienced in personal development, there's so many different other areas in life that we need to take care of, which is the lived experience as well. And so, like, I think one of the biggest things that has really changed my view on developing myself is like being open to explore multiple categories of life. And I remember, because I learned it so early on, like literally almost 10 years ago, like the wheel of life. I used to always just think, oh, that's a basic coaching model. Oh, it's basic. It's not worth anything, but it so is. It's so powerful to understand what are the different areas of life right now that we do need to start growing in and recognizing and going, you know what, I'm a 2 out of 10 when it comes to finances, or I'm a 2 out of 10 when it comes to relationships. I want to get better in these areas. It's so important.
Yeah.
So the combination of your lived experience and personal development is so important.
That's a really good point that you make up with the Wheel of Life. Like, I did a slightly different thing with a really awesome guy, Tommy Bellman, and it was only about 3 or 4 years ago, and this was probably my first investment into personal development. I had done a lot of other investments in the past on skills. You know, I'd go away for 4 weeks, go do a 1 week course, and then go away for another 4 weeks. So my partner was without me for 9 weeks, and I thought I was investing in myself. That's okay, without asking her if it was okay. But
or bring her along.
I did bring her along to the Adelaide one. We had a great time. We were on Henley Street. It was great. There was a couple of days in class, very hungover. And that's all we'll talk about that, because we still are friends now, and she will kill me if I mention any more. So my first investment into that, and it's something you mentioned, the Wheel of Life. And the Wheel of Life, to me, I haven't done too much work on that, but what I have done work on is values. Or just quite simply getting to know who the fuck you are. And a lot of people don't know that. They're like a ship without a rudder in the storm, and they got no idea what they like or what they dislike. So one of the first exercises I did with Tommy Bellman was going through and working out my values, and doing all that sort of stuff, where I worked out, holy shit, I am bad with finances. My finance model was, I'm spending too much money, I need to earn more. That was it. I was like, okay, spending too much, I earn more. Done. I'll do overtime. I don't give a shit. Not, okay, where are we leaking? Yeah. Where can we slow this down?
How
what
can
am I
make
buying
this
too
money
much of?
work for me?
Yeah. That's right. What else there? There was areas around what fires me up, what gets me going, my loves. So one of the most important things I did from that personal development with Tommy Bellman, I remember I did this exercise, and the head coach of the Sun Devils for Queensland reached out. He's like, hey man, I need a running backs coach, rah, rah, rah. And I was like, why the fuck would you get me? I'm not that good. And instead of saying no straight away, I'm like, man, just give me 24 hours. I need to see if I can fit this in my work schedule. My thought process was still, work. I need to take care of my PAYG, not Troy. So I did this exercise. It was about 11 questions. And by the end of it, in about 4 different sections, was American football. And I fucking sat back and I reread everything again. I'm like, man, American football pops up a lot. Like, is this something I should be saying no to? Like, if this is something that recharges my batteries, or I love talking about, or anything like that, like, how the fuck do I knock it back? So from that exercise, I then said yes to the running backs position, which was great. I got to coach alongside some of my favourite coaches again from the past that I've played for in the past. So Hollywood was there as the OC, so I got to be under him, and it was another introduction into a higher level of brotherhood of being on the Queensland state team. And then some of those guys I've now ended up with friends outside of. One of them even lives with me at the moment, which is amazing. But it was like,
it all started from an exercise.
It all started from personal development.
Yeah.
And writing everything down and realizing what I love, what I don't love, and what doesn't fit my life.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that didn't fit my life too well, once I saw how busy I was drinking. Because I'm like, I don't want to boast, but I'm really good at drinking. I'm fucking good at it. Like, I can go out for a dinner and I'll get home at 5 a.m, no issues.
Yeah.
So then I'm looking at my list and I'm like, fuck, I don't have time to drink. I don't have time to A, lose Sunday all day, and then B, still be not too good on Monday, Tuesday. So I'm like, right.
This is being invasive to what I truly care about.
Yeah. Drinking doesn't really fit into all my other values here and what I want to achieve out of life. So I'm like, righto, I'm gonna cut that out. And we can delve into that in another episode. I ended up going 385 days without a lick of alcohol. And this is a dude that's an action nightclub manager, drink every day, to just one day going, nah, I'm gonna do it. The original goal was
from writing down your values, you understood what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And what came up for me when you were talking earlier was so many people don't understand that relationships isn't just with other people, it's also with ourselves.
With us.
Yeah, and once we get to know ourselves and we actually start developing that relationship, it is powerful what can happen from that. And you're right, there's so many people walking around not being consciously aware of that, not being consciously aware of what their values are, like what we talked about as well, like what their shadow values are, and how are they living towards that. And it's really interesting. If you're listening to this right now, definitely write out your values if you never have before, and notice what behaviors are linked to those values, because sometimes some of our values can be caught in an unresourceful behavior. And so an example of that is drinking and alcohol, the switch off of life, the adventure also in life. We can fulfill that through these substances, and it is unsustainable, but it can work. And how that takes from us and how that takes from our life and how that actually interferes with other parts of our values is super huge. And so you might have a value of relaxation, and you might link that to a drug when you don't actually need to.
True. Yeah.
Like, what if you went and sat on the beach and carved out just a time for you to sit down and enjoy it? Some people might say it's boring, but it's actually the relaxation you're looking for. But if you want some more fun and excitement and adventure, I love people that are really invested in life and really leaning into life. What do? They go camping, they go hiking, not to get pissed with the boys, to get into nature. And I just love that as a frame of, we can think that our needs are hooked into these certain things, these certain behaviors that so many other people are doing. We might have done them for most of our life, but it's not actually the thing that we want. The thing that we want is the value underneath it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's quite cool that you say that, like the whole R&R thing. I think that's coming from someone who used to be work, and the importance of having some sort of R&R. And that can look different for everyone, but however you need to relax, like a midweek one, a day off, a fucking 10 out of 10 Sunday where you don't have tech, or a weekend away camping, whatever it is to release the pressure valve without substances.
Yeah.
You know, and it can happen. Go to the movie, see a movie, do whatever.
10 minutes in a sauna.
10 minutes in a sauna, whatever it is, just to bring that stress back down and reset, right? Because the last thing you want is to wind yourself up so much that you go back into a Monday, whatever type of roster you do, and you're still wound up. You haven't released a little bit. R&R is extremely important, I think people need to remember that.
Yeah, I think to really bring that home is one of the greatest values we can have, is having our own back. And when we do behaviors that genuinely support our values and allow us to expand upon it in a sustainable way, that is having our own back.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful lesson that I've learned from personal development.
100%.
And so we got a little bit of time left. So I reckon to bring it home, I want to know, what was the best investment that you've made in yourself? I'm curious.
I'll quickly finish off the American football story, and I'll circle on that, because that will lead on to the best investment, which will surprise a lot of people, because anyone who knows me knows I've spent, I'm not going to say spent, I've invested a lot of money in different things. So from that exercise, I then took on the running backs job for the Sun Devils. To then the following tournament, I was then deep-ended into the offensive coordinator role, which is one step up, and then a place on the Australian team as a team manager, all from a values exercise and realising what was done. And I'm now the president of American Football Queensland. Had I not done that exercise and realised and started to get to know myself, I don't even know if I'd still be involved with American football.
Yeah. The conversations that you've had, the relationships you've created, the opportunities that you've had access to, all from that exercise is huge.
My circle has completely changed, and then that goes for more than just football too. Like what you just said, once you realise what doesn't fit you, your friendship circle can change. For instance, if I was the same person 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know if we'd be friends.
Yeah, I hear you.
But now that I know what I value, the conversations we have are the fucking conversations I fucking crave. When
This is what I want to be
talk
a
about
part
business,
of.
we talk about growth, and then we hang out with all those different people. So now that I circle that back to investments, you know, I can quickly talk about, yep, I've invested in property. I have a couple in there now. I won't delve into that too much. I've used some of my FIFO money to buy into a training center, which has been absolutely amazing. And the purpose of that, buying into that training center, probably wasn't really the training center as such, but it was someone that I wanted as a mentor, who happens to now be my business partner, who's I work in the rope access industry. And this person who's my business partner is fucking, I don't really give a fuck what he thinks about this and what I say about this. He is one of the fucking best in the game. And how else better to get access to someone like that, but then to be like, I'm now your business partner. We get to spend time together.
Yes.
Fucking brilliant.
And how cool is that, being on the growth journey? You meet people where you're like, I want to be around that type of person. And a couple months could go by, a couple years could go by, and then you're right next to them doing the same thing on the same level in some regard. And that is truly, truly powerful. And I've experienced that with so many different mentors. And you're looking at someone thinking, you are one of the most amazing people I've ever met. And then, oh, well, now I got a call with them every week.
And we've obviously missing it. You know, my grandfather was a pretty good father figure, but he was very blunt and not really good at communication. But Carl has been really good to me. You know, whenever I'm stuck in life or business, you know, he's been someone that I've turned around to and gone, Carl, I've got this issue. Can we talk it through? You know, one of the biggest ones was football again. I'm like, Carl, I want to change teams. It doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm jumping ship. I feel like I'm abandoning my brothers. And he's like, are you happy there? And I'm like, not really. And he's like, go do what makes you happy, man. Like, be happy.
And we need those people in moments like that where, because we can't always figure it out on our own. And it's not always down to our parents either. Our parents have lived a life in a certain way, and they've got the results that they have. And for some, we don't have to be the same as that, which is polarizing for some people, surprisingly still. And so if we want to be any sort of way, we've got to hang around the people that are rocking in that direction. It's very, very important.
I think one of the best things he said when we were talking about that and the changing of the teams and all that sort of stuff, he's like, dude, and somebody else said this to me too, because I asked a couple of different people. I wanted more than one person's opinion. But basically, he turned around and said, dude, sport teams usually have a cycle where from 1 year to 4 years later, that team is completely different. So in 4 years' time, who the fuck's going to remember that you've changed teams? And I was like,
Oh, that drives home a point that I want to comment to. And I think it's really, really important.
Let's go.
That's the same with vision. We might see how our life needs to be. It's also with values too. We might see a way our lives are going to be, and that's amazing. And we do what it takes to get there, and we get there, we make it happen. But it is so important to constantly come back to rewriting that story, rewriting that vision of where we're headed. Because we're always going to grow, get to places, and then there's another place we've got to go. So being consciously in control of that matters so much. An example of that is when I was 17, I did my first vision exercise. And I saw myself living in the city. I was a full-time chef. And I was going through some relationship problems at the time. And I was like, I'm going to be with a girl with a different colored hair. That's what I told myself. And then a few years went by. I had exactly that life. I even pictured I had grey bed sheets, and I had the grey bed sheets. They were the first bed sheets I bought, and I didn't even think about the vision. I know I came back home. I went, I'm in that house. I'm there, and I knew it was an apartment too. I was like, there's no stairs there. It's just like, I'm really high up though. So that was the apartment, and then I had to recreate it, make it different, and completely change my life again. And that led to the life I'm now living now, where I'm living outside of Australia, living in multiple pockets of the world, and with a girl who I literally thought of every day for a year, and then I met her. And so having that constant rewriting of our vision and refocusing on the lives we want to create matters so much. And it's interesting, we were talking about like sometimes getting off track earlier and like getting unfocused and what we need to come back to.
Yeah.
That there is one of the best exercises to keep going. Because I think a lot of people assume it's like, oh yeah, I've done the work now, so it's always ingrained and I never need to do anything again. No, it is a practice. It's something we need to constantly do over and over and over again.
It's a continuous process, man. Like, that's like saying you've learned a language, but then you're not going to fucking speak the language for 5 years and still think you're going to remember how to say hello in French.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, if you don't repeat it and don't continuously exercise it, it will go away.
Yeah.
Same as speaking another language, the same as going to the gym. It's like, oh, I've just gotten myself down to 10% body fat and I'm carrying X amount of muscle and now I don't need to go to the gym
Macca's
anymore.
every day.
Now
Let's
I can go have Macca's and I can go do everything else. And they're, oh, why the fuck did I get fat? I got there. Yeah, no
I'm
shit.
supposed to keep the six pack. What's happening?
Yeah.
It's the same with personal development and working on
100%.
yourself. You got to constantly be at it. Now, some things you don't need to always go back to. You might heal from some different things, but the practice of being a successful human being, being an incredible human being, being incredible to yourself, it's a daily thing. Like I can tell myself I love myself once and then I'm forever in love with me.
100%. And that's, I do those revisits every 2 months. I have my goals set out. I've already talked about my brand or manual or playbook, whatever I want to call it. I revert back to that just to make sure that I'm still on track. And then once a year, I just have a little review of what I've done in that year, which I think is really important. And all of that really, when we're talking about investments in ourselves, all comes back to this program I entered into. It would have been March 8th of 2024 or 2023. I can't quite remember. I think it was 3 years ago now. Time has fucking flown. But I had this ad pop up about Mantastic. I'm like, what the fuck's this all about? Anyway, and then I'm sitting in bed, and it was the one time where I've pulled the attitude, and I've done it again a couple of times since because of this. And I was laying in bed, and I was like, I'm not going to go. Can't be fucked. And then something crept inside my head and was like, dude, it's 4 fucking hours on a Saturday. What have you got to lose? I was like, you're right. Thank you, other voice. I will go and suss this out. There's a couple of squirrels up there.
Higher consciousness.
Yeah, higher consciousness. So then I went to this event with Tommy Bellman, and the whole time I was sitting there listening to him go through his framework, his structure, and everything else. I was like, "Fuck, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I need." And at the time, I was looking at joining a different group, which would have been an absolute disaster, and ended up joining his, and it gave me the structure and the balance to, number one, and we can call it all sorts of different things, but at the end of the day, it's truly getting to know yourself, which then turned into the will of life or values or anything else. But once you get to know yourself, you can definitely move forward. So all the houses, the business, all the other shit that I've invested in, all circles back to joining this one thing with Tommy Bellman, because I probably wouldn't have made any further investments past that. I started to learn how to run my finances properly from that. I heavily reduced my anger. I brought in a couple of other things like my 24-hour rule for reaction, which has probably saved my job a fucking dozen times. I think you've even copped some of those conversations where I've called up and gone, this is fucking bullshit, but I'll wait till Monday to react. And you're like, good boy, Troy.
Well done.
So it all comes back to me, like, back to this
And
investment.
not at me, I could never make you angry.
No,
Never
oh,
upset.
fuck, of course not. How would a redhead make me angry? Ever. Somebody else might pick up on that. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, this personal development, I think, is the most important thing I've ever done in my life in making that investment with Mantastic and Tommy Bellman, and really getting to know myself, organise my life, and just be a much better person, getting rid of the anger, learn what else to invest in, and all of that sort of stuff. So,
and you can see for people who are struggling, suffering in life, and they don't have a relationship with themselves, you can really notice that there is a core reason why you haven't checked into what is going on for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I trust for whoever is listening to this right now, you are on that journey. You are on that journey of getting to know yourself. And I want to acknowledge you for listening to this right now, because you've just invested an hour and a half of your time to explore, us and your life and how you can live on a whole different level. And so, if you listen to this, good on you.
So, Harry, I guess we are coming up on time, but I want to give you the best 2 minutes of your life and ask you this question, and I'm sorry not to give you more space for this, but what was your best investment that you've made in your life?
Best investment that I've made in my life is the dedication to serve and support others, because it's one thing to get to know yourself, but it's also another thing to get to know what you can contribute to the world. And I remember Tony Robbins talked about, there's all this self-help, this self-love stuff coming up, but there's not enough about helping other people. And so the endeavor to help other people's dreams come true, mine has certainly come true along the way. And so I think not enough people check that side of the coin out. It's not just about you, mate. It's about the other people you're here to help along the way. And that lesson, so many people need to check that side of the coin out. And it has changed my life completely. Helping people in so many different ways, whatever category it is, it has washed over back onto me. If I'm helping people in finances, I get to now learn about finances.
Yeah.
If I'm helping people with their business, I'm learning a deeper reality on business. And so wherever it is, and there's many places I've gone, being able to help other people time and time again, first of all, the benefit of helping them, yes and yay, but then how that comes back to me has been huge. So
nice.
That's been the best investment of my life, the service of others.
That's beautiful, man. Really appreciate it. Well, Harry, I thank you for your time. For anyone that's wanting to get a hold of Harry and have a look at what Harry does, you can find him at Global Influence. Harry, is there a website that goes along with that, mate?
Yeah, we've got globalinfluenceagency.com. And we're releasing some gifts over the next few years, for the next few years. First, next few months on yourdreambusiness.com.au. And so there's some gifts there if you're wanting some support in your business, wanting some support on growing your dream. Go check that out.
Excellent. Thank you, Harry. Really appreciate it.